circumference. Based on parameter, C at. You know, utilize cardinal air, fixed water, mutable fire. You know, sometimes the imagination shows where you gon' fall. Alright, flights. What your spirits really wanna go to heaven for? Flights. Yeah, I just sweat the floor that look just like a checkerboard. When you ask God, being too heavy going through all the weather storms. Yeah, life is all about experience, but you know that you're never sure. You're like God, yo, nobody knows what flight boss knows. On one hand, you got molecules, the other hand, you got the cosmos. Hell, love you flowing so exposed to shit, it's unless you wanna find blows. Baby, all about the cheese, but you want the Taco Bell, got some nachos. Damn, shit is getting in our dreams. Two pillars on the other side of us, now we getting in between. Then you walk up 3 steps when you're going past of the altar. Don't be taking no bullshit when you try to pass up the father. If you really know about the constellation, going dance to the altar. Because you went to third dimension, now I got the picture that is a gospel. Yeah, I done seen 9 heavens. Goddamn, I call a man 3 degrees ahead of 357. Yeah, let's dance, 357. Wow, let's dance, 357. Wow, tell me what's going on in your brain. Yeah, tell me what's going on in your brain. Yeah, let's dance, 357. Wow, let's dance, 357. Wow, tell me what's going on in your brain. Yeah, tell me what's going on in your brain. Yeah, that emotional parting. Do you got yourself together or is your heart emotionally hardened? Smell, taste, hear, see, feel after you done made you a triangle. Is that little bitty light inside you that have made you survival? Yeah. Need to dance a little bit. Get together cause all is all. Everybody look, we all the stars. Baby, we don't flying off, we fall. Directions got us looking both ways. Don't backstab me, feeling like the OJs. Gotta get our character together, merge like the Siamese. Smoky got my eyes getting low, squirm like the Chinese. Got me chillin' in the sky like the Spurs like beside me. Degrees building on the point, making curve like a 90. The things in your surroundings you need to express more relatable. The 3rd, 5th, and the 7th house. When shit gets spooky, better mouth. Everybody learn your lesson now. What is going on in your brain? We about to go into a whole nother world. All aboard, we are in a plane. Let's dance, 357. Wow, let's dance, 357. Wow, tell me what's going on in your brain. Yeah, tell me what's going on in your brain. Yeah, let's dance, 357. Wow, let's dance, 357. Wow, tell me what's going on in your brain. Yeah, tell me what's going on in your brain. The sad, the flag, that shit that's happening. You'll understand. That's in the fucking air. If you kiss me, I feel so bad, girl. And we've been all around the world. We are some stars, we are some possible. Let's dance, 357. Wow, let's dance, 357. Wow, tell me what's going on in your brain. Yeah, tell me what's going on in your brain. Yeah, let's dance, 357. Wow, let's dance, 357. Wow, tell me what's going on in your brain. Yeah, tell me what's going on in your brain.
No further than that. Now, we're going to teach everybody or help everybody learn how to learn or learn how to teach or learn how to be in some situation where your comprehension skills go up all the way up. Shout out to Fat Joe. Now, we got to get off these energies. Energy I gave off earlier, y'all know I'm just a representation of the extremity of what we're experiencing so you can know what that appearance looked like to what to tap into and what not to tap into. And it's going on like that as long as I've been online. But for the most part, then you'll always, like a double-edged sword, you come on the other side and then you got some qualities everybody can listen to, receive, and push out their own knowledge and their own concept as long as it's in the right position. And therefore, this cleansed the world of any grifting. This cleansed the world of anybody who's in a position to be a victim of grifting. And this allows us to understand it ain't even about grifting. I ain't even going to mention that this whole live stream. You just going to see that it's a natural way of us understanding. And it's things that you was already developing as far as comprehension, even when you was in the womb. I mean, it ain't like your mother jumped inside her body and say, make sure you put your heart there. Make sure you put your lungs there. No, this is an all working, well oil running machine mechanism God gave us all access to understand. You see what I'm saying? And let's leave it there when it comes into teaching each other and it not being in a position where whatever that we're teaching can be utilized as a form of being able to scam each other, which is always the first starting point, even when it's in the hood and it goes beyond drugs and guns. Person to start using mind states, start using ego, start using their position within a relationship, and start doing all kind of other circumstances just to feel like they're above something. And for the most part, that's something you will be able to sit back from a distance, be able to have comprehension on, wrap your spiritual finger around it, and you'll be able to teach an individual who may be sick in the spirit, but in the physical realm, they may look like they got they 1-2 a little better than you, but you will stop them in their tracks from using that quality on you to boost their internal ego or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, that external representation be like a subsidiary to fulfill what they be lacking inside. And due to the fact of all of us being lost in social norms and Walt Disney, we may think what an individual utilized to obtain that, whether they the breadwinner amongst your family, friends, associate, co-worker, or they in a better situation, they could utilize the nepotism energy, aka they could be the middleman or middlewoman for you to get that good job or however the case may be. But little do you know, these things will blind you from actually seeing what a person is using that to fulfill, to hide what they probably lack as a spirit in the first place, and therefore you will allow yourself to get taken advantage or spiritually drained from an individual, being blinded by the necessity that you need for them or the place that you have put yourself in based upon that relationship for them to have that mental authority. So you have to check everybody, even when you're separating or have to sacrifice from physical representations at times. You get what I'm saying? So that alone is a knowledge quality. You could become a philosopher, keeping your spirit in that space and not getting too off track when external people, places, and things take you off track and make you have to pay attention and use your mind intelligence magic for things, intelligence and magics for things that ain't necessarily used for. And then now you're spending more seconds, minutes, hours throughout the day on, we all have intelligence, it's just you got intelligence for bull crap. And you're going to eventually meet other individuals who spent more of their mind intelligence on things that going to inspire you or things that you want to go in that direction and actually do and things of that nature. So that's what this live stream is about. When we get 12 minutes in, we're gonna go in depth into the manuscript, each step it takes. So you're learning how to learn, and by default, you end up being in a position of teaching. You never leave this polar shift of learning, teaching, learning, teaching. Sometimes you get too lost on a percentage scale. You find yourself more into a learning situation when there's a situation called for you to already know something and you be the teacher of that. All the way down to petty scenarios and stuff like, you might have to put your hands on an individual for them to stop shooting spitballs in the back of your head when you was in high school or junior high. That ain't had nothing to do with learning a curriculum or being book smart, but that's the street smart development of it beyond that baggage that the street term got on it and things of that nature. We just talking about grassroots type of learning and institutionalized type of learning without it being in y'all rhetoric of how y'all utilizing things to think that y'all waking up people or to institutionalize people. I'm just using, for lack of better terms, because these are the words that y'all created for the dictionary to help me help other people understand what I'm trying to say that ain't got nothing to do with y'all. See what I'm saying? Do y'all thing. But for the most part, when it just comes to everybody helping each other out, that's just the only part I'm talking about. So when it comes into being aware and developing that comprehension and stuff like that, you're learning a thing behind a thing. So before we remember, the spirit creates the mind, so the mind mimics the body. The mind creates the body, so the body mimics the mind. The body creates the external representation, so the conveniences mimic the body. So forms of language, intellect, how we create things together, math, objects and stuff like that please the body or suit the body. So we take it out of religious aspect in your mind. You're hearing it through the lens and the filtering system or your spiritual perspective of saying, oh, it's pleasing the flesh. I'm a religious person, so pleasing the flesh is wrong. I'm just using terms so we can understand things that separate everything from the spookiness. And that'll be another example of it, just like I just previously did with the other two terms. But for the most part, it's just keeping our mind right. This is you witnessing someone that's getting ready to break down what actually the space you need to be in. So you're learning every second. You know what I'm saying? Even when you're in situations that ain't got nothing to do with school, even when you're in situations that ain't got nothing to do with you having to develop some knowledge, or you're going to be vulnerable in those type of circumstances. You just learning because that's what life is about. And God is teaching you every second and minute. And this is the thing that you have to start paying attention to. Because when you're not paying attention to that, you use your mind intelligence you already have just for the things that the mind create, the body, and the things that the body create, the physicality. So you lose your spiritual concept to it, and your intelligence is watered down. So you become a person who could be an intelligent scammer. You become a person who could be an intelligent grifter, a person who can intelligently talk themselves or convince other individuals that whatever that they're doing degenerate is actually right, or whatever the case may be. And you can get away with that for a couple 100 years or 2 or 10 years or whatever with your family, friends, associates, co-worker, or amongst your people. But at the same time, just what I'm getting ready to break down to help you even be aware of what you actually doing beyond what you actually doing. What we actually doing externally is just how we want to appear to be with the physical, because what we do externally please the body, but we get that idea and that concept from what creates the body, the mind. But for the most part, your mind represents what spiritual space you in. And if you don't know how to observe that the right way, you can think you are the mind and don't know when you come across other spiritual, powerful spirits, like a soul like mine. I will be able to see what spiritual space you in and know that your mind is full of bull crap, that spaceship you in. So for the most part, you're more rooted on a percentage scale and claiming what's more important on whatever your mind developing for your flesh, your body, and you're going to use the external representations all the way to books, letters, literature, whatever the case may be. So your body can appear to be whatever importance we're giving that physical representation that came from someone else's mind that had that same energy for you to consider it important or whatever, based upon lacking of other energies to be able to put yourself in that position. So for the most part, here's where we get an ego being able to get spotted in ways that lack knowledge, information, and words around it. But we all been experiencing this. It's just other spirits and other observations and other positions in their own perception, and that's the lack of, or the little bit of knowledge that they got to add to it to be able to call it a name or a word or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, there's a lot of things we go through that we can't explain, but we experience it all the time. So even when it comes into ego, me being an angle is able to show y'all another angle at how ego can still be a thing when an individual ain't even think they being egotistic, which allow other spirits to be in that area, spot spirits doing these things, but may not be on a grand magnitude that I can do it, but they got certain words for it. So they come up with words like being disingenuous, come up with words like being sarcastic in an area that deals with if a person is belittling someone in a nice way, whatever the case, rocking someone to sleep, or coming in the light of being nice, ultimately because it leads to another person having to sacrifice more of their time to that individual, or whatever the case may be. But when you learn these things, you'll start to be able to look at what we all utilizing to agree with each other on, and things that could benefit you to learn, and separate from the negative of it, the part that rock you to, you'll be able to see the handful of routes that it took to create that archetype, and whatever author system is coming through, you'll be able to pluck what fruit is good from you and what fruit ain't. You'll be able to see who's using it, they know about it, but they doing it to manipulate it, who know about it and they teaching it to be genuine, who don't know about it but they read about it, so they're kind of flaw at it, who may got an agenda around it, whether they know it about it or not. Like, you'll be able to see all the handful of routes of what's the necessity of the fruit you take from it, what can benefit you, and something that could potentially put you in a spiritual cage and got you in that mind frame that's already set up. So you already know, or other individuals who created that mind game know the ins and out, and know your end game, and know what you're getting ready to do and what you're not getting ready to do, based upon what you set up as agreeing to that's going to be your desire, agreeing to that's going to be your motivation, or however the case may be. And if the motivation is GMO, you're going to have characteristics of GMO. Then when you get put in situations that GMO situations get put in, lab rat, the hormone testing, jail, or whatever the case may be, and stuff like that. That's you being in the mental hell and stuff, and then you having to realize, like, oh, this ain't something that's where my spirit want to go, or whatever. I have got lost in some other manuscript. You see what I'm saying? So that's just getting y'all mind right. Oh, we 12 minutes in. Let's break it down. I'm saying, let's break it down. Let's break it down. Now, comprehension, how to learn and stuff like that, because this is for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Colonists, everybody and stuff like that. I don't have biases and stuff like that, because when you creative, you like everybody to do their thing. You a musician, art drawer, colonist, construction worker, you can't wait just to do your thing. You ain't got time to be thinking and trying to stop somebody else from doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's always in-house beef in business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics. You got people doing their thing real cold, and other people who can't do their thing, so they get mad. But since they're in the same world, they ain't got no one else to start to try to destroy or whatever the case may be. So yeah, there's a lot of in-house things, and that ain't gonna never fail until we all get our spirituality right. And then it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. We can come together, but we're coming together on better pretense, on better presuppositions. Therefore, it ain't something that's large on a percentage scale of self-serving and negativity. So we only all good, we only all cool, we only fam bros and sisters and stuff like that, when that external negative thing is flowing like a well-oiled running machine. As soon as it starts to lessen up on a percentage scale for one or the other party or the other multiple parties and stuff like that, here's where you get in-house breakdown. Here's where you get in-house tower moments. Here's where you get in-house scamming each other. You know what I'm saying? So that don't discriminate. That's a spirit that float around like its own entity. It don't discriminate with no ethnic group or nothing. It don't matter who you are, it's not discriminating. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just for all of us. You see, so that's the pocket I'm always in. That's another reason I'm a master orator that I brought up. If you're a construction worker, teacher, lawyer, colonist, mathematician, whatever, car engineer, and stuff like that. There's knowledges we all have to be always caring about more than the things we use that intellect and filter through the subsidiary that we're calling intellect. Once it's filtered through the mind, and now it's being more played out for the body, and with the body you want to create externally and stuff like that. And when you don't believe in yourself, that's another term for not believing in the spirit or your space. You're always going to lack being in a position of being able to add on to any knowledge for all of us in the world and stuff. You're always going to be in an opinionated position, or the secondary position, or the hand-me-down knowledge position. And therefore, you can only use whatever you're getting, even if it's intelligent, for your own survival. So even if you're doing it out of kindness of your heart, you're going to need assistance, or you're still going to have to do negative things to be able to obtain it. You know what I'm saying? Something like Creflo Dollar flying off in like 5 jets and stuff like that. You worried about your gas bill every day. This person worried about not lessening up the gas on 5 different jets. So, peep gang, now, check it out, right? When it comes into this, right? Now, it's all about comprehension, but before we get into this, right? Because this is going to ultimately make you a teacher anyway, but you have to learn how to be a student first. You have to learn, like, that's why I always tell y'all, I'm not teaching you nothing. I'm only reminding you what you already know. So, I'm just a person that learned something about myself and expressed it. Once I express it, that's what everybody is calling teaching. Now, based upon how broad you have self-learned something, that's how many layers or how many subject matters you're going to be in a position of being able to teach. But never forget the fact that you're always on the polar shift of learn and teach it, learn and teach it, learn and teach it, learn and teach it. And if you don't understand that percentage scale, it could be a time that you're supposed to learn, but you're trying to teach, so you end up being a fool. And there's a time that you're supposed to teach, but you're in a position of trying to learn, so you miss your shot about something. You miss your opportunity, or it's that I wish I shoulda, coulda, all the way to being bullied, and that's the day you wish you would have went upside the bully head before they spit that 70-second spitball upside your head and stuff that you wish you would have stopped it at 15. You know what I'm saying? But you didn't let it went to 82 times throughout the week and stuff like that. Now this person feel comfortable that they can do it every day to get whatever brownie points and validation that they trying to get at the pencil sharpening line and stuff like that. Yeah. So peep game. Now look, check it out, right? So track. Here's the key thing. Track the reasoning. Before we get into train of thought and line of reasoning, track the reasoning itself. It puts you on a train of thought, and then that goes in a certain direction. That line that train of thought is going in. Line of reasoning. And y'all could be going down lines and directions on a train of thought that go off a cliff, not to the promised land, aka in a 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, something that suit or go into your favor or for your best interest when it comes into the external things that the body create to please it, things to please the body once it obtain it, or the body could be physically okay, and the mind state that you in and things of that nature that bend in and become those adrenalines in the first place. But knowing the order that your spirit, aka your individual soul, your individual spirit is first, then that always puts you ahead of the game, even when things ain't always right inside of your first body, your mind. Even when things ain't always right in your second body, your actual physical body. Even when things ain't always right with the things it created external, your physical representations of bodies and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Your objects that you lean and depend on and stuff like that, but they may not be acting right at the time or however the case may be. Your spirit will always find a way to not let that dictate the overall of the existence at the moment and stuff like that. That allows you to spend more time developing a mind that bend in and become adrenaline, actions, and physical representations to still put you in a better position of someone else that God always show everybody. It's just people be blind to see it, that it could be worse. God to put that in front of you, a person, place, or thing, circumstance, or situation that give you the thought it could be worse. If you refuse to think that you still going through the worst or whatever like that, you're going to be in that worst own world. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So let it flow. Don't be constructed. Let it flow, like in the mind. Let it flow, Joe. You gotta go, Joe. You gotta let it flow, Joe. Know what I'm saying? But yeah. Hey, people sleeping on Fat Joe first albums and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all gotta peep game and stuff like that when it comes into the mind. Let it flow. Don't construct something, because when you construct something too much, it get rooted and it bend in and become adrenaline. You manifest an actual situation you're stuck in, and you can't go with the flow frequently, fluidly, and things of that nature. Now, so track the reasoning to something with the starting point of the thought process of being your own interest. We're getting into it now. We're getting into each mechanism. If you got to be a person to write stuff down, hey, do that, because this is like the manuscript of learning how to learn, and that default puts you in a teacher perspective when it comes to all subject matters, right? And you know how far to jump in, get your feet wet, how to jump out, and be on this polar shift, right? So you got to have true equilibrium. Track the reasoning to something with the starting point of the thought process of being your own interest. What do I mean by that? A lot of people get motivated or pointed to something, and then you have to start developing your interest to it. You know what I'm saying? All the way like going to school, starting from elementary and things of that nature. You don't know why you got to go, so you know it's someone else's importance. So you develop the actual importance on your own volition internally, secondary, and you be more on a percentage scale of maybe having to please someone else and stuff like that. So even though you're in the same space of gaining the intelligence, even if it's in your same, even if it's something that's in your common interest that benefits you, but you still lack the full perception of being able to be in a position of adding on and fully comprehending it, because you're still using your mind intelligence for, in this context, bullcrap, which is not bullcrap. It'll just be filtered through the system of you pleasing someone else, whether it's a parent, someone you don't want to look dumb or whatever. So your intelligence goes more in these areas, and even on a large percentage scale, it pour out in the actual quality that you're supposed to be paying more attention to, but it's still not the broadest fruit, and it's still not the percentage scale you're supposed to, where you're learning something on your own volition and you're more intelligent about that subject matter, or you're going to become the bee than everyone else in that area. Right? So this is going to put you in a mind frame, and once you're in this mind frame, you're already on a train of thought, a line of reasoning. So you get ready to take off. It's like someone who get ready to start their career, and they hot, and all they need is that right position, that right look, that right platform, that right song or whatever like that, and that's all it needs for it to take off. But the work is done. Just got to be in that right. They got to say, kind of like the Lil Wayne and Joel Santana mixtape that was supposed to come out, Can't Feel My Face. Yeah, we got most of the songs, but the setup was wrong. It was supposed to be set up a certain way, and the way it's going to be set up, it was going to give them more time to add a few more songs and update certain other songs and stuff. You know, the look was supposed to be right. Everything got to connect. You got to have a full package. You can't just be the best bars rapper. It got to come with other stuff. You know what I'm saying? This how y'all are able to get away with trash rappers being able to still sell more records and have, and like me also. I'm not a trash rapper. I'm just saying, me also, I like certain trash rappers' songs better than someone who's more technical. I know how to separate it though, to be like they ain't a better rapper, but it's other things, and I know how to explain it. It's the vibe, and I know how to describe what the vibe is. It's a collection of thoughts and feelings, and it's what that spirit put together on their journey, on their experiences, that they put it together. And it's a lot of experiences or spiritual journeys that they went through. I went through some similar. So what I put together there may be different, but since there's a synchronicity, that's what I'm connecting to like that song, regardless how it's filtered out through. Sometimes they might be mumble rapping and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of Future songs I like better than other technical rapping people's songs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just giving y'all examples. Giving you an example that you do the same thing. Everybody doing. We all similar. We all slightly different species, but we all similar because we all the same spiritual root pocket race. We all the 5-pointed being that become a wreck from massa spirit. So for the most part, we all brothers and sisters there. You know what I'm saying? Don't be going there talking about nothing and race and debating and stuff like that. You better shut up and realize you got a brain just like I got a brain. You got a heart just like she got a heart. All right. The more you sit and learn about your heart better, I guarantee when you express it, it'll be something that someone could be able to use for their own heart, because y'all in the same spiritual root pocket race. Now, you might not be able to express it, and a monkey could use it for their heart. An alligator could use it for their heart, but let the alligators do that amongst themselves and they God. Let the monkeys, you know what I'm saying, gorillas and shark head gorilla, you know what I'm saying, face fin, blue grill, you know what I'm saying, sea creature, but let them do that amongst them and stuff like that. So for the most part, when y'all humans gonna get like that? You know what I'm saying, y'all do it in small percentage scales. It'd be y'all do other stuff larger on a percentage scale though. Y'all give more importance to other stuff like scamming and stuff. But yeah, let's get into it. Like I said, so track the reasoning to something with the starting point of the thought process being your own interest. Not the starting point, or not starting off as someone else's importance. Now, don't put this in your mind. See, I'm putting y'all in a world where it actually have volition and validation to saying, in the spiritual world amongst God and the angels, but I shouldn't have said that, but this is the spiritual world, right? There ain't no right or wrong, good or bad. Because right or wrong, good or bad, negative or positive, ain't filtered through your biases and what you would put an extremity on, that we can be on small percentage scales or fleshly levels of common norms of saying what's bad and good, all the way down to harming each other. It don't even have anything to do with that context, but this also where it springs from for you to have these contexts in the first place. See what I'm saying? So track the reason into something with the starting point of the thought process being your own interest. Not starting off as someone else's importance, even if the topic or subject matter is recommended to you by someone that's important to you, and the situation can lead to something that benefits you in the outcome. It's important for you to find the actual reasoning besides the matter itself. You know what I'm saying? So it can be something you don't want to do or something you want to do. The suggestion that comes from another individual is still important for you to find the reasoning behind it, so you can even point to why that person even suggested it to you and the importance behind it and stuff like that. And you'll find that why it means something to them and why, and the percentage scale of what it means to you or not, and be able to separate from the fact of them recommending it to you and you doing it still or not. Because that, when you don't do that, that also be building animosity in situations. Let's say you a person that was forced to go take a certain college degree or something like that because your parents running a good business, so they force you to do that too, right? And then there'll be certain areas that play out in other areas in your life, and it'll be certain strings of events of your spirit being reminded there's something you don't want to do. And it might be coming from you wanting to go to that college thing, but that college thing, you done added a lot of other justifications because it does make sense to do it. So it'll play out in other areas. You might extremely act negative and degenerate to your parents because you couldn't do something with your fraternity that week or something like that. Like it might be something, or something that's dealing with the food or the family. Like you are over exaggerated because that energy got to come out in some way. And spirits don't be knowing how we're connected with each other, even when it has to play out negatively, to make it come out in a more resolving manner. So it'd come out as animosity, elephants in a room. The only thing that be healing that type of wound is time. And then when time go by, you got to come back around and do that type of apology or act better and not in that way you was acting before. So that's like a silent apology or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that don't be good enough. That don't really be good enough. Sometimes y'all be around family, friends, and stuff like that that need y'all to tell them, no, say you sorry. You know what I'm saying? That this act you putting on, and I'm supposed to take that as your way of saying you're sorry because you're not acting out. You know what I'm saying? Some people got a lot of earth in their chart. No, they want you to say it. You know what I'm saying? Now, so like I said, so start it off, track the reasoning to something with the starting point of the thought process being your own interest, even if it was secondhand because it was recommended it to you before you was interested in it first. So make sure it's not at the starting point of someone else importance, even if it's the fact that they recommended it to you before you knew about it, right? Even if the topic or the subject matter was recommended to you. Based off someone else's importance or a situation that could benefit you or the outcome. It's important for you to find the actual reasoning besides the matter itself, because going off others' perception and volition can lead to you spending more time using your mind intelligence to please other individuals other than building your own individual perception so you could be in a position of adding on to humanity based off whatever curriculum or subject matter or topic it is. Now, once you keep track of the reasoning, that builds the meaning to it. So when y'all be trying to find meanings, a lot of y'all, let's make it make sense. So we take it out of the pseudo area. A lot of y'all don't want to do a reason to something because the meaning behind it, you can't find it. You know what I'm saying? You might be like, oh, there ain't no money involved. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no reason for me to do it. Yeah, I can see the reason why I could probably wake people up, or I could see it might be a reason to do this or do that, whatever the subject matter or topic it is. But you ain't gonna find a motivation if it don't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? You gonna put more means on the money. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. Or you just can't. So you gotta look at it like that. Or you could flip the words. You know what I'm saying? You don't see the means to do it or the reasoning to do it because it don't matter to you or whatever the case may be. So you can't find the meaning because it don't got the meaning of money behind it, or it don't got the meaning of you getting your ego boosted or your validate or the stuff you care about in your small world. So you got to be careful and things of that nature, because a lot of times you could be passing up on gold that if you go ahead and raise your intellect around and stuff like that, you could be the face of something and start reaping the benefits of whatever you get ready to do to get the same external things anyway. And you probably lack knowledge, so the things you're going to do to obtain these strange things, to obtain the things on your brain, might get you in jail. You know what I'm saying? Now, for the most part, here's the thing. So once you keep track of the reasoning, that alone builds the meaning of. So before we even created the term, which the meaning behind something, that's what you was going through. You was going through a train of thought and a line of reasoning. Once you found out the reason to something, you start developing the meaning. You know what I'm saying? So you like, dang, you didn't really care about trees a lot until it was fruit growing off of it and you was hungry and stuff. So as soon as you figured out the reason, this tree is here because it got fruit on it and I be hungry. Then you start developing, once you got in that comfort zone, then you start developing the meaning. Well, this means this, but if you plant a seed, this means if you eat, you won't be hungry no more, or whatever the case may be. Then you see what I'm saying? I'm just helping y'all keep track. So once you keep track of the reasoning, that builds the meaning to it, then that lead to being motivated. So before a lot of y'all be trying to find the motivation, you have to take this process first. Track a reasoning, that develops meaning, then you can reach the fruit. So look at everything like you're planting a seed in the spiritual world. You fly somewhere with your spaceship, the thought, then you in that nation, group of ideas. Now you can plant a seed there or whatever the case may be. But you have to look at it in the process. The seed is the reasoning, the thought process. Then that starts to lead into its growing, the meaning, because you got multiple meanings to the thing once you replenish your first reasoning. I'm hungry, so I got to eat. Now the first replenishing reasoning allows you to have meaning now. Oh, so every time I eat this, I cannot be hungry no more. Oh, and it grows off this tree, this branch. So meaning is more layers than the original idea. So the original idea would be the reasoning, seed. The meaning is it growing, branches growing out, multiple versions of it, right? It germinating. And then now you're motivated to pluck what came from it, the fruit. So motivation come third. Now, a lot of times, this is why y'all lack motivation. Y'all don't be on the spiritual thing. Y'all don't be in the spiritual order. So you be out of order. So you can't create order the way God wants you to do. Help other people with their mind. Help your own situation so you in that position in the first place. So someone can't look at you like you ain't got no business telling nobody nothing. You know what I'm saying? If there's an order. So spirit, create mind. Mind try to mimic the spirit. Don't get confused. Mind create body. Body try to mimic the mind. Don't get confused. And that one you can understand a little bit more, even though you still think you can fly. I believe I can fly. I can believe I can touch the sky. You know what I'm saying? You got your ass right in jail, didn't you? And then for the most part, boom. And then your body creates the physical representations. The physical representations that think is the body. A robot think, you know what I'm saying, they could go to sleep and charge up. No, it got to be plugged in. So you see what I'm saying? So you be saying these words, my body got to update. You create a physical version of something that do downloads and updates. Then your body mimic, then mind, and the mind get confused with the body sometimes. The mind be like, I need to be pleased. I need to be fulfilled and stuff like that. Then you get lost and do extreme things and not be pleased and lack things in the physical. Then when your mind be lingering. Then if you just realize the first starting point in order is your spirit, your individual soul, your space, then you'll be like, oh, I make these things. So I got to make up my mind. Oh, so I make it. I got to make it happen. I have to make love. I have to make it. Oh, I just like to love better. So I was so lost in that filtering system on a percentage scale. That's why I know how to make sense out of when people say I got to make love. I forgot I have to make up everything else too. I have to make up my mind. I'm lazy in that area. Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Muhammad, you know what I'm saying? You got lazy in them other pockets. You got label when it's something, especially when y'all lack it and someone else got enough that they did for themselves, so they got enough to give. It's an easy mission for you. You get ready to drain somebody else, take advantage of somebody else, abuse somebody else in the love that they had to give to you. Then put a stain on their heart, make them feel like I ain't never about to love like that again. They don't know that we all self-project. They really internally ain't never about to make up that love they can have for themselves again. So every time they go out, they got the spiritual guard up of being ugly in the spiritual world. And God be seeing that. And God be like, why you let another ugly human do that to you? Now watch out. And don't tell them how long you get out that pocket. But sometimes people get out of that pocket when they 90 years old. And they be like, oh, F it. You know what I'm saying? But look, like I said, once you keep track of the reasoning, that builds the meaning to it. Then that leads to being motivated or more interested in the subject matter as a self-interest. Then once it's in the pocket, you're already experiencing trying to teach and learn more about what you are doing and separate and compare and contrast on a percentage scale the self-interest energy that's going to be negative or the self-interest energy you develop because you went through that self-journey, and then whatever you do could be something that's not self-interest because you did enough of that, the real version of self-interest. So all these negative things that y'all do is a real version. You do it because you do it the way God did it. Let's use hate for an example. Instead of hating everything externally, find something internally to hate about yourself. When you do that in the spiritual world, those are thoughts and feelings that always put you in frustrating manners. And those are yours. No one else's. Everybody else got their own subjective concepts that they get mad and would make them happy about. So you're supposed to hate that thought and feeling is affecting you. You're supposed to hate that the external things that make you be in that kind of energy or make you jealous. You're supposed to hate that about yourself. So you go as a spirit and attack them men and women that you didn't probably got somewhere else, breathing in air and thoughts and stuff that condensed and became air and became adrenaline that was foreign in you, that you didn't got from other spaces and spirits and animals and stuff like that. And then for the most part, cleanse your body. Therefore, now you're more cleansed and not reactionary in a negative way towards things that really out of your control and really don't matter, mean nothing to you anyway. You taking offense to other people's problems. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that means. You know what I'm saying? That's what that means right there. So you got to understand that. The negative things y'all do, there's a way you do it for God. And when you do it for God, you be like, oh, so now you understand everything from equilibrium. All these are energies. It just ain't what we do, is how we do it. You see people hate and they do it the wrong way. So they ain't find a thing to hate about themselves. So now they're pushing out hate, and the thing that they supposed to hate themselves, the hate inside, that's the thing they're pushing out, hating on everybody else and stuff, because they'll never want to find a time to be in their own world and develop their own mind and stuff like that. So that person, but some people get out of that stage. It just take too long. They reach 90 years old and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's a real thing. That's a real thing. You see what I'm saying? Don't get caught in that pocket for yourself. But look, check this out. Once you keep track of the reasoning, this builds the meaning to it, then that leads to being motivated or more interested in the subject matter as a self-interest. Then, once you're in that pocket, you already are experiencing trying to teach or learn more about what you are doing, even if you're not in the curriculum yet. You know what I'm saying? It's going to start off as being a philosopher even without that term. There may be certain actions that you could start to see from a different perception or a different angle amongst your friend group, family group, and stuff like that, that could prevent them looking stupid. And it's going to start there. So you're going to start putting yourself into esoteric shoes, and you got more awareness because you're going to more distance. So you're seeing more outcomes than this individual able to see before they reach one of them outcomes that they wasn't able to see, that put them in a negative position. By default, this prevent you from being in those situations, being in the same type of circumstance, and being able to witness others be in that situation, being in the same circumstance. And it's automatically once you start to play out these situations, this is God showing you you're the bigger spirit just by the interaction. You're going to have family, friends, and associates that need you in those type of advice type of areas, or the way outcomes play out. You always on the lighter side of the heavy extreme current event that played out, or whatever the case may be. So that's going to be the first signs. And if you're in that spiritual space and you stay there, it's going to start developing. Then that energy play out in other areas. Then when you start to get into curriculums and learning and book smart and stuff like that, your awareness is more broad by default. You know what I'm saying? To the point that, look at it like this. A street smart person taking the time to get book smarts. That's a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Let's put that in the lawyer world. You can't mess with one of them lawyers. The only thing that'll stop that lawyer is the side of the lawyer peer group that don't got the street smarts, and the street smarts is getting in the way of the person with the double-edged sword, the streets and the book smart, from fully doing with the terms and the agreements that people with just the book smarts and the nepotism have. So they can't fully be used in ways that the street smart person will be able to see. They'll be able to see that there's certain things that just the book smarts and the nepotism people develop that they had to develop by lack of the street smarts. And without the teamwork of the book smart, there could be a situation where there can't be a uphold with the book smart, and there will be a street smart that take over the book smart quality. And then if the book smart and the street smart person is in there, there's no place for just the book smart. You know what I'm saying? So there's other intelligence that the book smarts have to do to maintain a place that don't even have anything to do with the intelligence of the place and the expertise in the topic itself, which is where we get scamming from, changing history, plagiarism and stuff like that. But that's for another conversation. But from a lineage of spiritual seeding in it, if you a time traveler like me, you know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of time travelers. There's a group of time travelers in cults. There's a group of people that I was just talking about, whoever with them. There's a group of time travelers in everybody's ethnic group, but they're so spread out and thin, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, that just everybody just do their thing. It ain't no big thing for people to try to take over the world and stuff. Don't be doing all that. You can't do it with that type of concept anyway. That's stupid. That's just for yourself and your own knowledge, for you not to be dumb. And everybody around you that's in your same expertise, you could be the more positive one for God. Not positive the way y'all looking at it and like, hey, we all need peace. It ain't even in a situation of peace needed, and because it's negativity. No, you just being on the lighter side of energy, so your comprehension scale is always more broad than the individuals and the participants. Therefore, you're going to be the main character, the star player, when it comes into these situations of learning and becoming a teacher. And knowing the equilibrium in those areas, so you're not developing any form of being it developing as an ego because you're too much on a percentage scale of the teacher, or it developing as you being the victim because you're too much on a percentage scale of being open to learning things, even in areas it's something that you were supposed to already know and God taught you, and you being a fool in that area, and that's why you experiencing that misunderstanding or being in a position of making a mistake or wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda thingy concept. Now, here's the thing. So, for example, right, once we go after this, when we start to talk about, once you keep track of your reasoning, that builds the meaning to it. Then that leads into being motivated or more interested into the subject matter as a self-interest. Then, once it's in that pocket, you already experiencing trying to teach and learn more about what you are doing. For example, right? For example, ooh, pardon me, y'all. Pardon me, y'all. For example, if someone recommended you to learn math, instead of doing it to please others, which that's going to be naturally the starting point if you ain't want to learn it yourself first, right? And put this in your mind state too. Think about everything you wanted to learn that was based off what you was interested in first, that someone else didn't have to recommend it to you. It was something you was watching from a distance and started. These are things you always develop more comprehension on faster than something that's recommended to you, even if someone's recommended to you that's in your benefit. Somebody probably recommended you to start playing sports and it start making you $1 million once you got out of college or whatever the case may be, and stuff like that, right? But someone who wanted to play basketball on their own gonna be a little better than you in some way, shape, or form. So this is how you get Michael Jordan separate from Scottie Pippen. You know what I'm saying? Who else is teammates? But it's a clear distinction between, you could tell who was just a homie in college and who was the dude in college because his life depend on it and his family depend on it. He got to be the first one to make it and stuff like that. You could tell, like you could tell it's extra energy. That was the extra gas that got Jordan to jump from the free throw line to make a dunk. Scottie Pippen ain't have that extra gas. Charles Barkley ain't have that extra gas. You see what I'm saying? You get it? So, for the most part, for example, if someone recommended you to learn math instead of doing it to please others as a higher, as it being higher on a percentage scale, while slowly developing the reason on why it makes sense for you being lower on a percentage scale, try to understand the reasoning behind the subject matter to the point you understand why the person even recommended it to you. Now you're looking at something from a broader perspective, aka now you are able to separate it from the recommendations and why you have to learn it, and you're able to see how it can apply to multiple ways for yourself. How can it apply in multiple ways for yourself? Now you by default will become more interested in how you can use it for yourself, and or the entity, or use it for yourself, or how it plays out as a form or entity or deity on earth beyond the subject matter itself. You'll be able to see how this plays out. Let's say if you're trying to learn math, you'll be able to see how math is playing out beyond calling it math. So you'll be able to see, or you'll be able to be more interested in it and be like, okay, and then that separates you from just being in that class like, I just gotta be here to get good grades. And it puts you more into a perspective of, okay, I get the point and I get why it's created in the first place. And now it's gonna naturally evolve into you adding on to math. This is how someone added to just from addition and subtraction, and now we got multiplication. Now we got division. Now we got calculus. Now we got algebra. You see what I'm saying? These are spaces people are in. So now by default you will become more interested in how something can be used for yourself and how it plays out throughout a form or a deity or entity on earth beyond the subject matter in itself, the substance of it. At that point, you are able to teach an aspect of it of the subject matter no one else can, or no one of a kind spiritual space can see it from. Because we all got our spiritual space. Then we create our mind that represent that space, the character, thoughts, and feelings. Then we create a body to express where we coming from, that space. Then we use physical objects to try to make it more rooted the best way we can when we lack understanding and stuff like that, right? All the way down to language, external voices and stuff like that. So, right? So you become an angel, aka an angel. And angels are men that teach. Spirits that's in the mind and the body can play out masculine and feminine characters. Masculine just means externalizing. Feminine just means condensing from a collection of externalizing. So it's contracting, or condensing, or having a container to be in, like a mind. That'll be the first concept of it. So angels are men that teach, aka thoughts that inform you. Thoughts that inform. And the spirits inside of those too, as you a spirit in the mind, aka thoughts that inform, aka information in a mental form, aka our first bodies, to represent where our spiritual space is. See what I'm saying? So once you're able to comprehend something, you now can start adding on to it with your own intellect and not be more on a percentage scale of the student side, which you're always going to be on a polar shift when it comes to teaching, learning, not that 6-7 stuff, teaching, learning. You just got to be aware of what side suit best for each scenario, and how big you are as a spirit, taking that responsibility to consider your sole job. So when it comes to you thinking for yourself and others, because you could be more intelligent than others, but in that certain situation, it might not be for you to be seen as intelligent. You might got to learn from someone else's foolishness. You might got to allow somebody to be dumb. You might got to look at sometimes your knowledge, put a spirit in a resistant type of circumstance, because you showed a spirit something that they already know, but you showed them that you are aware that either they're playing a fool for a monetary gain, or they don't know it, and it was something that all spirits supposed to have their own responsibility to know and learn. So it can be good advice, but the spirit will also choose what they're already in, because it's a comfort zone. So it will play higher on a percentage scale of them trying to prove you wrong, even if they're wrong. So they'll be in some situation, if they're wrong, they don't want to be right, or convince themselves that they are right, and hopefully something will play out where they can find something where you are wrong, to make a perception that whatever that they was doing, they still got their own volition as a spirit without you. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful. How intelligence is tricky. You know what I'm saying? And you playing with someone else's intelligence, even when they being intelligent liars to themselves and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? The spirit don't know what to do. You could be their best friend, best family member, and become their worst enemy for things in your mind you thought you was just helping, and never thought a person will be having those type of actions from what you're doing. So you'll be trying to tie their actions to other things and stuff like that. But it's just you put that spirit in a funky spot. And so when you get enough intelligence, you have that knowledge I just gave you. That's a knowledge. That's a hidden gem. You got to be with God, went through a lot of experiences, know the ins and out to have that type of gem. I just gave y'all a head start. That's why I said at the beginning of this live stream, if you're a person who like to write stuff down, this is one of them type of live streams. This is really one of them Patreon live streams. I'm going to keep this up, though, because I'm going into detail for all the zodiac signs, because to add on after the full moon and things of that nature, due to the fact of I fixed the upload problem that I was having and things of that nature. So days was passing and stuff like that. So I was like, man, let me just add some flavor to it, so it ain't just about astrology, and that way that makes it more better. But for the most part, like I said, this helps your comprehension and know how you're doing something, so you're learning how to learn. So when you're teaching or observing in a position of learning, even from someone else teaching, you're able to see what they have learned in an area that goes beyond the subject matter. And this is where you can see if a person is a grifter or they're not teaching right, and they still teaching out of the goodness out of their heart. They don't mean no malice, but based upon their angle of how they're doing it, still may have some malice to it. For an example, right? The person may be a fool and don't mean to, So they may have stumbled across a certain diet that may be specific for them, not knowing that it worked for them, but it might be something that small pockets of people may be allergic to. Then they getting all this volition and notoriety and stuff like that. So the recommendation is going to be more favorable. So that it's going to be more open to somebody in this small pocket that may be allergic to something that didn't know it yet. And then start to do that thinking that it got something to do with a diet. And then that's when, if you're the wise person, you learn this gem too that God teach you. Sometimes people just don't know. So you'll be able to teach the teacher because you're always learning and you're always teaching. And you know that it's a broader aspect of things. So you're just a broader spirit and you know what to play out even when you have to play the fool at times and have somebody else have their intelligence. So you'll be able to teach the teacher of their diet. Hey, maybe not teach the specific diet, but teach the space you have to be in that a person to develop that diet in the first place. So a person could get their own gadgets because the physical flesh is with the external conveniences, please. And then therefore they're back in order. So they'll find their own individual things. So a person won't have to figure out if they're allergic to celery or not. They know that it'll be something that helped them. It might just be a certain space that they have to be in, not a negative or a binge watching one or a stressed out one. That'll lead into that mind state. That'll lead into the flesh, and they find a specific food, maybe a carrot or something else is for them. And then that certain time of the day. And then that's what you teach. You teach a person to be in a certain space and find their thing for that specific time. That's how y'all be in sync. So your diet may be celery, and now they don't have to suffer with real figuring out if they didn't know what celery was at first, but figuring out who you is based upon you getting notoriety. You can still be a better teacher if you have this aspect, because I taught you without no ego. So now everybody has more equilibrium. You can also teach them, my diet is this, but it ain't specifically the physical representation. Celery, yours might be carrots. It's just I'm in this spiritual space that led me to celery, and it also led me to know that it's better to do it only at this time, right? So now this person may stumble across carrots when they're in that space that you was teaching them to do it at that time. So now y'all in the same space at the same time. The only difference is you got celery, that person got a carrot, and boom, both of y'all, not one person is the better teacher, one person is the better student, and then that person was automatically by default a teacher, and then that other person was by default a student. So for the most part, now that person had to learn being a teacher. Everybody, a lot of people might be allergic to certain things, so everybody might not have that specific diet. As you being a teacher, you learned that. And as the student, they can also teach. They can teach the individual that, yeah, I don't eat celery, I eat carrots, or whatever the case may be. And then therefore, even the student is in a teacher perspective and things of that nature. They could tell the teacher, oh yeah, this what my culture eat or whatever. So thank you for teaching me to only eat this at this time, because I used to stress out a lot and binge watch stuff and eat and stuff like that. Oh, so okay, so there's a similar stuff in my culture that's similar to that celery. Oh, it's a carrot. So let me just eat it the amount of time you only eat the celery and the time of the day. You know what I'm saying? Oh, so I don't need 2 or 3 plates. I just need the 1 plate of the only difference is the carrot. You see what I'm saying? So boom, this put us all into a more broader perspective of what we're doing. So, and this don't have words to it. I'm trying my best, but we all go through this. Ain't no words though. Ain't no words to explain these. So, but like once you're able to comprehend something, now, but these are just experiences. We have to start developing bigger dictionaries and stuff like that. But once you're able to comprehend something, you now can start adding onto it with your own intellect and not be more on the percentage scale of the student side, which you're always going to be on a polar shift between teaching and learning. You just got to be aware of what side suit best for each scenario and how big you are. Ooh, where I'm at. Oh yeah. You just here I go. Yeah, and how big you are as a soul and your soul job. So when it comes to thinking for yourself and others, you have to make sure that you're in that position. So it ain't always about who know more or who don't. It's a way you doing something. It ain't how you do it. It ain't what you doing. It's how you do it, or whatever the case. Remember, always ask yourself, why is something being something in itself? Yeah, you got to learn math, but why is math is what it is in itself? Yeah, you got to learn that, but why is that situation is with itself? Why are you experiencing it? Where is this experiencing coming from? Experience itself coming from. So remember to always ask yourself that. Why is something being it in itself? This separates you from being more on the percentage scale of being the opinion based person and more on the side of being the fact based person, rather it's peer reviewed or not. Remember, knowledge and science get put on paper, not learnt from paper. Let me repeat. Knowledge and science get put on, knowledge, science, and philosophy get put on paper, not learnt from paper. So paper can only be in peer review records and stuff and studies can only be a reference point of someone else's observation before it was peer reviewed or written down. So when I'm saying this is how you be smart. Y'all be in y'all biases, y'all religions, y'all debates, and try to look at everything through the filtering systems of dichotomies. Me saying that don't mean develop a bias, and since you like something and dislike something, everything coming from peer-reviewed records from maybe authors you dislike, you more in the energy of wanting to debunk something that ain't even got nothing to do with the information. You want to say, I'm waking my people up. Don't listen to colonists. Or I'm waking my people up. It ain't even got nothing to do with that. You know, see what I'm saying? Get out of all bias, especially when you listen to my channel. This is the intelligent channel. So when you in this space, you're able to even look at peer-reviewed records better, with a better angle and a better lens, and take the good stuff and leave the bad stuff. So, because here's the thing. Always remember, science, knowledge, philosophy is written down on paper, not learnt from paper. So use paper as only a reference point. Not to get into arguments to outright it, and not to get into arguments of arguing for it because you lost. You know what I'm saying? That's how you're not a true teacher. When you're in a position of arguing for or against something, you're in a biased world. So you're not in a position of adding to something, and then people remember what you added to a curriculum. People just remember you for regurgitating and getting money off whoever did what I'm talking about first and what I do. So here's the thing, right? So use paper as just a reference point and use it for information and not as a justification. Use paper as information as a reference point, not as a justification. Here's where y'all think y'all win debates just because you regurgitate it real good. Not actually run a debate because you actually debunk somebody and they can't use that rhetoric anymore. Y'all don't be doing that in no religious debates, nothing. Someone's still able to leave that debate with small pockets and holes in your argument and fulfillments in their own argument to still make them feel like they still can consider them being right. You didn't create no esoteric cure that play out in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension as you fully debunking something in every capacity where a person can't cling on it at all. Y'all don't know how to do that except me. So for the most part, here's the thing. So use paper as information as a reference, not as a justification, because that leads into presuppositions. You can end up justifying some bullcrap and be seen as a person who was teaching something that becomes debunked years later due to new information or research. Just like we see science all the time. Science always getting updated. And that's a good thing in science. A lot of y'all scammers and grifters be in one pocket throughout that 10-year process and scam so much of your own people, then 6 to 7 years in, we start to see the little shift before the 10 years and it fully changed. So it'll be minor stuff happening of it getting debunked already and it losing influence and stuff like that. Then here you go trying to save face, damage control. We online now, so that'll play out like here you go deleting videos you had uploaded in 2016 and we can't find it on your Patreons. We can't find it nowhere. It's completely off the net. Only the fans got it now, and they don't even care to hear it or whatever the case may be. They still trying to figure out how to delete junk mail or the junk research. Y'all saying real stuff. They like, this retarded thought still exists, man. We working on something else right now. Y'all saying. So it get deep. Or would be no such thing as certain songs or certain information that was played on YouTube videos that was uploaded in 2016, 2015. Now UMG Records deleted it from the page. You can no longer upload. You know what I'm saying? There would be no such thing as that. You know what I'm saying? There would be no such thing as that. Don't tell me I'm lying. A lot of y'all rappers had a good old long, you thought you was doing the I Can't Feel My Face or No Ceilings Lil Wayne mixtape, and all the songs got deleted off all social media sites just because it was on everybody else's beat. You thought you was about to get lit in the future, like people gonna go back to this mixtape. You know what I'm saying? I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. I love all y'all. And I just need a part 2 though, because we're gonna get into the teaching aspect. But flight ball, you know, for sure. You now listen to the Mind of that Terry Smooth. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to care I gotta do these responsibilities. Rack the swa, hill ho da yalla who, Massa so it, mama the toy. Masasaki.